Okay, in this training video, we're going to cover the backup tool. So you've got the backup tool installed. There's a desktop icon. You click on that and this opens up the main screen. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the login. You're going to set your credentials. So the credentials I set here, I'm going to back an application up for a client called Boardwalk. So I put in the spoke name. Now remember, the spoke name is the name that precedes auxiliumgroup.com on the website. So in this case, it's boardwalk.auxiliumgroup.com. So we put in the spoke name, the username. Usually this is a sysadmin account. So anybody who has sysadmin privileges would be able to use their credentials to log in. And that would give them complete access to all of the data sitting on the server. So we put in the username and the password. We save that. That will then do a check to make sure. And it's come up and it's successfully saved. So we have that information correct. On setup, depending on how large the database is, this could take a while. You'll get a message telling you that, and if this is your first time running the application, then it will tell you that there are no settings to load, so it will then just simply pop up and give you a chance to set those up. So what you're left with here is you're left with the available applications on the left and the selected backup applications on the right. So again, if you're a system administrator, you'd be able to see all of the applications, and this can get quite lengthy. The easiest thing to do is grab the top double arrow and click it over to the right. That will take everything off the server, copy everything off the server, and then move it to your local hard drive. If there are certain ones here and you're very familiar with the application that you may not need, then you can do things like take one off. So we're not going to back up the all users table, but we're going to back up all of the remaining data that's here. So this is what we're going to take a copy of, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set the backup details. So the first thing we want to do is we want to say, when do we want to back this up? Daily, weekly, monthly, or once a year? We'll do this daily, and we'll do it at 12 o'clock in the morning. So now we have it running starting tomorrow on the 14th at 12 a.m. and it will run at midnight every day going forward. We can set the maximum number of backups. This depends on hard drive space that you have, but we'll just go ahead and we'll leave that at 0, and then that will be indefinite. So now that we have that information there, the next thing for us is to set the backup location. So where do we want to store this data that we're going to be backing up? So right now there is no backup location, so select the backup folder, and we're going to put this on the local machine, or if it was a network drive. And I have one set up here under the backup, and I have a Boardwalk folder here. If there wasn't one there, you would just make a new folder, select that folder. But I now have that as the Boardwalk folder. So now that I have that, I'm just going to hit save on the settings, and now my configuration has been saved. And now what I want to do is I want to run a backup, the very first backup. So I'm going to run that now while I have the application up and running. You can see if I was to click on this folder, it opened up here. You can see that there are no folders here. The file is empty, so we're going to close that. So now we're just going to say backup now. Now I get this, tell you that the backup is going to be running in the background, so I can now minimize this application by just simply clicking the minimize key. I have to be careful not to close this out, because if I close it out, it will stop working. So this needs to run in the background. So in this uppermost frame, I'm going to minimize that, and then I can see here it's telling me now I got a message. It's telling me that my backup has been completed. So I can now go and check that by opening up my system tray. Here's the application. It's opened up. And now if I was to look at that folder, I can see there's my first backup. And there's the data that it has pulled down and formatted into Excel for me. So now I have all that data, and now that will continue to run, telling me here now that my next backup is scheduled for midnight on the 14th. And now I'm going to go ahead and just minimize the inner frame and now take you to the main menu here. So what you have here is the main menu, and you can take a look at the logs. The logs is just basically going to tell you that how many times this is run. Now I did run this one twice, so there's the 2 backups. And I can see in here, in the first backup, it got the all users table. It got the 4 records that was there. But then, as you see, I took the all users off of the sync process. So when I just ran it now, you can see the all users is no longer being backed up. So that's the purpose of the log. Now the purpose of the reports is just to give you a basic form of reporting on some of this information that you may have in the database. So what you would do is you would pick one of the applications that you want to search for. So you're searching for a record. Say you're looking for a tenant in that particular database. So you would pick the tenant, and now where do you want to search? In this particular case, we're going to search in the tenant column, and we're going to search for Ryan in that table. So there we go. Now we have it here. So we just double click on that, and then that brings us up the information that would be contained in the database on this particular file. So this is what we receive from the database, and this is the information that is on file. And that is a basic tool for just basically looking for particular pieces of archived data. By no means is it a powerful reporting tool, but it does give you the ability to at least search for records, bring it up, print it out, and have some access to that backup data. So again, the important thing here that I can mention is to make sure that when you do close this, that you're not actually closing the application, you're just minimizing it by hitting the minimize icon, which then will put it down into your system tray, and it will continue to run in the background. And that is the Auxilium Mobile's backup tool.